week and welcome to episode 43 of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. A happy new year to all you dog punters out there, and a happy new year to Tony Bullen as well. Long time no see, Tony.
Yeah, we've recharged the batteries over the Christmas New Year period, Dave, and rearing to go, to be true to you.
Right, we are 1 year down in the show. We're up to episode 43, missed 1 or 2 weeks along the way. I thought it'd be quite fitting to reintroduce you, Tony, to the viewers. 2025, new me, new you, and all that nonsense. Who are you? What do you do? And I suppose more importantly, where else can people find your views as well? Perhaps written pieces and tips and betting and all sorts.
Yeah, I joined the sporting life in 1993. Had a 4-year stint with those. Joined the Racing Post in just 1998. Dad won the last St Ledger at Wembley, and the rest is history. So over 25 years with the Racing Post, I do all the tips and betting for the open races in the Racing Post, and I've recently been doing the Weekender, a column for the Weekender where you pick a few open races that are taking place over the weekend, hence being called the Weekender. I've been really enjoying it, Dave, to be true to you.
Well, I know you've been finding plenty of winners in the Weekender, as well as finding plenty of winners here. We ended 2024 with a hatful of winners, Garfinny Blaze, Proper Heiress. It was all going on down at Hove. But we are back. Remember to like, comment and subscribe here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Do drop a comment as well if you're watching us on Facebook. Let us know your views, if you agree with us, disagree with us, who you're backing. Anti-post competitions just seem to be ongoing throughout the year. And no different either here, Tony. What are we at? Well, time recording this, 11:30 on the 8th of January. We've got one competition already underway, 2 more kicking off on Friday night at Romford. It's never ended.
Yeah, but as you say, there's structure to the calendar, and then since there's been that structure, Dave, people, trainers and owners have been able to pick their poison, and you're just seeing dogs, the right dogs in the right events at the right time.
Right. What have we got coming up on this week's show then? Right, we are going to look back at the first round of the £12,500 Arc Cesarewitch at Central Park. That took place on Saturday night. Then we'll look ahead to the 3 semi-finals this Saturday. Coral Essex Vase, the betting is out, so we'll have an outright view. We're not going to drill into the first round heats. We'll tackle them next week and preview the semi-finals, but we'll give you our outright view. I've got a strong each way play in that. We'll then do perhaps a dog to follow this year. I put up 5 in the Racing Post, which was unoriginally called the Dave Clark 5, but we'll pick Tony's brain as well, and I'll flag up one of those. And then we'll do best bets of the week, and hopefully we can kick off strong. We'll be among the winners, 2 singles and a double maybe in the best bets of the week. So we'll start then, just as we did last year, with the first big competition of the year in 2024. It was the Cesarewitch, 731 metres down at Central Park. There is no hiding place. This takes some getting, a really stiff 6 bends. Brilliant track, brilliant circuit down at Central Park. And we had 6 first-round heats last Saturday night. And we'll kick off then with heat number 1, which was won by Head Count in trap 1, 44.77. Swift Giddy in trap 2, Kunoff Crow in trap 4. And quite a bit of trouble around the first couple of turns here for all of the qualifiers.
Yeah, it was. It got very messy around the first couple of bends. It is the first 2 bends, because it's obviously the sprint traps that they're coming out of. They can be tricky in general, but obviously this Head Count for Barry O'Sullivan, she's not got a lot of mileage on the clock. Looked like she was going to take to 6 bends. She sort of showed up nicely in her first couple of races over the 4 bends, Dave. Went to Oxford and ran second in the maiden event. But this really plays to her strength. The more extreme test of stamina has really suited Head Count. All right, the time wasn't great, but she's showing the right attitude.
Yeah, really took off down the far side for the second time. Their Head Count doing the business. 44.77 at the winning time there. Right, we're going to move on then to heat number 2, which was won by Fabulous Hecka in really good style here. This was my price-wise pick in the Racing Post. And job done in good fashion as well. 44.13 to some 64 spots quicker. A Harlequin Ocean in trap 5. Bombay Zorba in trap 3. They are your qualifiers, traps 1, 5 and 3. got an engine, this one. She's got pace. She stays strongly. The one thing I will say, Tony, she looks like a very, very tight railer.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she's only young as well. I mean, Connections must have been delighted with this. Pardon the pun, but it was a heck of a run, wasn't it, Dave? Really relished the step up in distance and suited to the track. I mean, that's 2/3 of the battle. You've got to take to the track. The distance might suit, but the contours of the track also have to suit. But when she saw a bit of daylight, you could see the ground that she covers, and she really did put the race to bed. The runner-ups run okay, Harlequin, Ocean, but the fact that she's only a Feb 23 suggests that there's more to come for the winner.
Yeah, I mean, she's got some good four-bend clocks on her card, and the way in which she'd been running over sort of a stiff four bends we saw her at Toaster, crying out for a trip. So, they, you know, a lot of people, rule of thumb, wait till they're two to step them up. Patrick's no mug, and clearly, you know, the time is right, and she's proved it the correct decision. Yeah,
no, exactly. So I suppose he was thinking maybe her confidence might have been shattered, keep running her over the four bends, getting bumped and bored about. Step her up in trip. She clearly wants it, and it's proved fruitful.
Yeah, fruitful indeed. Right, let's jump to Heat 3 then. 44.26, good clock. This one, good performance as well for a bitch who's been in flying form for a number of months now. Droopy's Flotilla in trap 2, beating Unanimous Madam in 3. All right, Patricia goes in trap 6. This bitch, she broke the track record over 6 bends at Nottingham. Narrowly missed out on that George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial final. Was picked up by Garfinny Blaze, who we'll see a little bit later on, defending champion, of course, for this event. But this bitch, you know, she traps, she paces up, and she just keeps going.
Yeah, she's a nice bitch, Droopy's Flotilla. What I like about her, she's a no-nonsense type. She's got a combination of early pace and stays, Dave. I mean, it was a little bit gutting for Connections. She was just denied in the latter stages of the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial at Hove. But when she gets on the bunny, she's difficult to overhaul. She just keeps going and going. She's a bit like the Duracell bunny, and she's kicked off her campaign with a decent effort here.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been a sore one down at Hove. I did actually text Nathan after the race saying, like, listen, that I know she's got turned over, but that bitch has probably run to the very best of her ability in that final, and she's going to be a force this year over 6 bends.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she had a little bit of a gap. Obviously, being bitch, they could drop into season at any time, but in her current form, you can take her to any track, and you know she's going to run her heart out for you.
Yeah, nice performance there. Not as nice as this performance, though. Heat 4, new track record over the 731. Now, it's not an overly used trip, so perhaps we'll take it with a pinch of salt, but do not take this bitch and this performance with a pinch of salt. Droopy's Flair in trap 1. 2 from 2 over 6 bends now. We saw at the back end of last year, they stepped her up to the 660 at Sheffield. She'd been staying on really well over 4 bends and threatened to be a monster over 6 bends. And that has proved the case here. I thought the runner-up run really well as well. Keep an eye on trap 2 here. Hopey. Bright Jaw in trap 5 was your other qualifier. But what are we looking at here, Tony? A new staying star ball?
Yeah, well, without a shadow of a doubt. I know you say, obviously, it's still sort of bedding in the new distances, but you've still got to put up the times. I mean, even the 2 runs at Sheffield, done 38.75 in a solo trial over the 660 metres at Sheffield, and then did the same again in the race. I mean, it was a bit of an egg and spoon race, but she won by 14 lengths, 38.80, stepped up in class and just showed that she's a very exciting prospect. But look at the whole litter have clearly inherited tremendous amount of pace. And Droopy's Flair, she's certainly got a lot of flair about her.
Yeah, of course, she is a litter sister to a certain Droopy's Kathleen, who is a monster over in Ireland. So fabulous. Nice to see her doing the business. Again, another one who not really tight to the fence, but definitely favours an inside line. So when we get to the trap draw, we'll have a further discussion on that. We'll move to Heat 5. All right, Goldie in trap 6, banged out Maidor here, 44.22. Droopy's Vivacity in trap 3, Champy's Girl in the red. Now, all right, Goldie has got form over further than this, Tony. So when he led up, the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, he's another dog. He's one of them dogs that you'd love a kennel full of him, because he always gives 100%, whatever the circumstances, whatever the distance, and whatever the track, Dave, really. And as you touched on, the fact that he's proven over the 8 bends, this was race over once he's hit the front at an early stage. But he's always looked after himself, this All Right Gordy dog, and when he gets into a rhythm, he's gone toe to toe with a cream over 6 and 8 bends. So yeah, another good run. Runner up's a fast dog when he gets it right. Can be a little bit. His track craft can let him down, but he's just started to perform with a bit more consistency. This Droopy's Vivacity, but whatever occurred on this occasion, once All Right Gordy had turned in front, it was always an uphill struggle for the others.
Yeah, Wrong Dog was in front for Droopy's Vivacity, who of course impressed in a trial stake coming up into this event. Now, I'm exactly the same as you. This dog's got a big engine. He's got big pace, Droopy's Vivacity. But he's never, for me, particularly at Romford, I know we're not at Romford, but he's never been a great bend runner, particularly when he's got dogs in and around him, track craft. Over this sort of trip, if he was to find a start and get off the front, I don't think anything would get near him. That's how much pace and a big of engine he's got. But you've got to get to the front, and that is the point here. All Right Gordy got first run, stays well, and that was that. Right, they were the three that went through. The three that went through in Heat 6 were Garfinny Blaze in Trap 2, Breton Molly in 1, Ballycow and Harry in 5, 44.04, second quickest on the clock. This is, of course, the defending champion as well. Real class act, and he's going to take some beating in this event.
Yeah, he was sublime this time last year, wasn't he, Dave? Throughout, didn't put a foot wrong. Obviously, had that little bit of a setback. There was a staying event going on at Toaster during the derby, but he returned to win the Ballyregan Bob George Curtis Memorial at Hove. And again, he loves Central Park. Obviously, there was a massive golfing class. It was only a 4-dog race, but the others were beaten out of sight. And Breton Molly, who met Garfinny Blaze in that race at Hove, she did her level best to take the sting out of him. But this dog just oozes class, Dave. He's a winner. And that's what he did on this occasion again.
He is a winner, and you know, up until recently, he was unbeaten over 6 bends. And I remember talking to Mark Wallace. I think it was after the first round at Hove, that George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial, and you could feel it in Mark just how gutted he was that this dog had been off injured, because they'd earmarked competitions like the Regency. And as he's proven, you know, he's probably just about as good as there is around over 6 bends. I'd love to see him go toe to toe with Droopy's Clue over like a stiff 6 bends. And he is the anti-post favourite. He's the defending champion. And he is definitely, you know, Droopy's Flair's done the clock, but this is still the dog to beat.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he is the dog to beat. Times are irrelevant. Take times with a pinch of salt. Garfinny Blaze has been there and worn the T-shirt, and that counts for a lot.
Absolutely. Right, let's move on to the 3 semi-finals then. They are on Saturday night. They kick off at 8:01 at Central Park. Of course, Bombay Zorba in the red, 33-1 for Tom Levers. Hopey 5-1 in Trap 2. Fabulous Hecker, 5-2. Droopy's Flair still 100-30. Droopy's Flair, 11-8. All Right Patricia, the only seeded dog in here, wide at 10-1. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to stick with Droopy's Flair. I mean, the draw's far from ideal, but the fact that she done what she done first look round, that really hammered home how much potential this bitch has got of Sean Parker's. And I'm hoping that Droopy's Flotilla can crack away. I think 5 trapping too well might be her downfall. Maybe a little bit of a half miss break, slot on the rails, get into a rhythm. But what made that run better, the fact that it was her first look round Central Park, that's frightening what she's done there, really. So I think she can overcome this hazard. Obviously, it's only first 2 to qualify format, so margin for error is a little bit more minimal.
Yeah, that format is brutal when you look at a race like this, because you'd love to see Fabulous Hecker, Droopy's Flotilla, and Droopy's Flair all lining up in the final, having a crack at Garfinny Blaze. I'm just a little bit worried about the draw. I'm a massive fan of her. She was one of the Dave Clark 5 to follow. So I'm really excited for the next year, Droopy's Flair. And like you say, you know, Sitting Bull, they've definitely banked the bends and improved the track, but it's still a tricky track to run. Long straights, dogs can certainly get lost on the bends. So she's entitled to find plenty. And the fact that she was quickest in the heats and there's more to come. But the draw is a worry. You know, where will she go on the runs to the turn? Will she get racing room? Will she get shuffled back? I'm just going to take a chance that Droopy's Flotilla just does what she does. We know the bitching free Fabulous Heck is going to step inside. So if we can get a start out of Droopy's Flotilla, she'll be off the front and at what I think is probably going to be 3-1, 7-2, maybe 4-1, maybe we're clutching. I'll take a chance off the front, but I think it's probably a race to tread a little bit carefully in anyway. That's semi-final number 1. Just on the times, I've not chased this up, but there was a little bit of chat on social media that I saw about 1 or 2 of the races, all the races, I don't know, maybe being manually started or hand started, the traps. I don't know if that is the case. We'll have to drill down into that. But obviously that's far from ideal, Tony, if you see that at all.
Yeah, I don't like to see that. I mean, it should be announced if they're doing it. I mean, I don't see why tracks, if they're foot starting, hand starting, whatever starting, it should say tonight's meeting will be hand started. I don't see
a mark on the form. I mean, I think it's appalling any track that is hand timing races.
Yeah.
Like that should just not be the case, because although you'd back racing managers and people in racing offices to correctly clock a race, there's margin for error. You know, like there is wiggle room there, and we're talking fine margins in ground racing, whether it be over 2 bends, 4 bends, 6 bends. Not for me. Manual starts, and in particular hand-timed races, is a big no-no.
Yeah, massive for me as well. But in this day and age as well, it's like you could make excuses if we was back in the early times. Like, yeah, things like that happen. But if it's occurring, there should be transparency and say at the start of the meeting, tonight's meeting will be hand-started, hand-timed. Just reveal it.
Yeah, standards. Standards is probably the key word. Their standards and consistency. Right, let's move on to semi-final number 2. And this will be the 8-19. Champions Girl in red, 33-1. Head count, 100-30. Unanimous Madam, 10s. Brett and Molly, 13-8. Harlequin Ocean, a middle, 8-1. All Right Goldie, wide at 7-4. Who do you like?
I think again, Brett and Molly would prefer a draw nearer the rails, but I think the sprint leg of this race, you'd fancy her to win it, even being drawn where she is. So I think she can get to the front and stay there. Obviously, you're keeping an eye on where All Right Goldie has turned out wide, but I didn't see any reason why Brett and Molly couldn't hit the winning line in front first time and stay there.
Yeah, if she gets loose, she's definitely going to be very hard to beat. Can she get loose? I'll take a chance with All Right Goldie, but they're the 2 to focus on there without a shadow of a doubt. Right, semi-final number 3. Then again, once again, over the 731 metres. Swift Giddy in red at 7-1. Garfinny Blaze 2-5. Kunoff Crow 7-1. Droopy's Vivacity 4-1. Ballycow and Harry. Bright Jewel 33-1. Big shout out to Labrooks and Corals. First out the boxes once again with all the heat prices here. They've priced up at the time of recording all the Essex Vase heats as well. We're not going to go into that, but quick out the boxes, the team there. Here are our prices. Garfinny Blaze 2-5. He had to be a short price, didn't he?
Don't look a bad price to be. Not being funny. I mean, he looks like he's, barring any serious incidents, he looks like he's a shoo-in to make the final, Dave. I mean, there's not a lot of pace in the race. He could easily front off here. And is he going to go and threaten the clock himself?
Yeah, I couldn't be against him. And yeah, you know, do you want to take the 2-5 or, you know, take the sort of price he is to win the whole event? He's obviously going to get our votes there. On the outright, where do you currently stand? We've not got the show, but I think he's around about 2-1, 9-4. I mean, he's a backable price, isn't he?
He's certainly on the way the draws worked out. I mean, obviously, as a Greyhound purist, I want a good final. But if you are betting anti-post and the other 2 semis don't go the way, like the other 2 semis are pick any 2 really in those races. So all of a sudden, if Garfinny Blaze cruises into the final and the other 2 semis cut up a bit rough, he's going to be a small order for the final, isn't he? So yeah, I'd be playing Garfinny Blaze at the 2-1, 9-4 available outright.
Yeah, 2-1 I think he is. 5-2 Droopy's Fair. Fabulous Hecker 15-2. Brett and Molly 10s. In terms of any sort of each way angle whatsoever, is there any way in here? I mean, I quite liked All Right Patricia. I mean, she's in a red hot first semi, and that will obviously mean, you know, if she qualifies, that there's been trouble and some of the other big guns have gone out, which kind of in a roundabout way makes Garfinny Blaze an even bet a good thing. But maybe, you know, one of the all rights, if you like, all right, Patricia, all right, Goldie, each way. But you're very much in the Garfinny Blaze camp by the sounds of it.
Yeah, as I say, he's class. It's not like he's a dog that's sort of got loads of miles on the clock and he's coming to the end of his sort of run, or he's not the force of old. He is as good as he ever was, and I just think he's the one to beat, especially the way the draws worked out, Dave.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. So there you go for Garfinny Blaze for the Cesarewitch defending champion. Right, Friday night at Romford, first big competition of the year at the London Road Circuit. There's actually two big competitions kicking off as well, because we've got the £10,000 Coral Essex Vase and the £5,000 Silver Maiden. Now, we'll have a quick chat, outright view on the Essex Vase. Now, New Destiny, 9-4 favourite, won the Champion Stakes, won the Coronation Cup, looking to complete the Romford Triple Crown. I don't think it's ever been done, Tony, has it?
I don't think it has. Off the top of my head, I'd say no. I mean, it'd be some achievement, but she had the right name, New Destiny. She was destined to make waves over six bends, and she's certainly done that at Romford. Absolutely demolished the opposition. She brought her A game in both finals, and that's testament of how good she is, Dave. She's got a banana skin in the first round. She's in trap 4. You've got Gary Arb in 3, Golden Palace, Ballymac line out on her immediate inside. Antigua Bingo looks like might need the run following an absence. But one thing, she got a knack of being able to overcome adversity. Even if things go wrong for her, she's not out. And that's the beauty of New Destiny.
Right, she's 9-4. Let's have a show then. Iams of Sydney, gold collar champion, been to a couple of finals at Romford as well. 7-1 alongside Gary the Arb. Scammer at 10s, who trialled really well last week. Another one for champion trainer Mark Wallace. Brigadier Brindle, one of the top locals for Dave Mullins. Iceman's Girl, who has been an early market mover, runner-up in the Oaks at 12s. Droopy's Eunice, another one, as we know, been there, done it, got the T-shirt in competitions, 4 bends and 6 bends. Ballymac line out, 16-1. I think Jimmy Fennick travels down with 2. Ballymac Camilla, I think's the other one. Then we've got Baywatch Bullet. I think looks a massive price at 16s. Obviously, the Regency winner back on the card. Lively Lauren at 16s, 20-1 bar. You've already gone boringly with Garfinny Blaze as the favourite in the Cesarewitch. You're going to be boring again?
I was looking, I kept trying to look, and I thought, and I just can't see any. Where New Destiny's got it all, like a lot of these dogs that can put up 35 deads need to do it off the front. Whereas New Destiny, she doesn't. And if she just keeps doing what she's doing, gets to the final, and then brings her A game and gets off the front, it's game over, because nothing can live with New Destiny in front. Whatever New Destiny turns ahead of, a beat, because nothing's going to give her a start and a beating. So she has got a banana skin in the first round, but I've just got to stick with her. I think the MWD partnership, they're going to have a tremendous year, and I think it will kick off in January with a flying start.
I think I might have found one at a bit of a price, but it's the place money that I like here, the each way angle. Another one for Mark Wallace, as it happens. But Mad for Sterling. It's a ground. He got beat last Friday by Fabulous Sonique, another one for the kennel. But he after did some running, like really, really strong runner. He's not got a bad record over the 5.75 at Romford. Given his running style, he's not a dog that's going to bomb to the turn and make all. You know, it's a dog that runs the track well. I think he's really hard to keep out the frame. And I don't think the first round has been too harsh on him. Obviously, he's got Iams of Sydney, who's going to be odds on in his heat. But you'd fancy him to make it through. And then with a bit of luck in the semi-finals, if he got to the final, this dog is not finishing last. It's just not happening. So at 25-1, even if you kind of just writing off the win play and the place money, I think he qualifies for the semi-finals next week. So at a quarter of the odds, him to be in the first 4 in that final, I quite like that as an angle win. So you can either... New Destiny is obviously going to be a win-only play if you want to follow in Tony. But at 25-1, I think Mad for Sterling is going to be really hard to keep out the frame. Quarter of the odds to be in the first 4. I like the place angle there. That is the Essex Vase, of course, on Friday night at Romford. Live on Premier Greyhound Racing, behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing, or, of course, on the stream. Right then, before we get to the best bets of the week, because we are a little bit tight on time now. I did want to ask you, obviously I've done my 5 to follow in the Racing Post. Have you got one for us, Tony, to follow this year?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 bend scene's always been the pinnacle, really, of the sport. And I thought I'll go for a dog that's going to surely be contesting all the big 4 bend category ones. The Droopy's Plunge, Patrick Jensen's charge. Not got a lot of mileage on the clock, but every race he's contested, the form's holding up really well. Debut, finished second, half a length behind Proper Heiress. Beaten Barntick Bear. He's beaten Romeo Steels, Newin Sids. He set a high standard in the first round of the Eclipse at Nottingham. Bit unlucky not to make the final, in my opinion, after sort of being crowded out in the early stages. Went to Hove, looked the part, and didn't quite happen for him in the heat of the Olympic. But he's won his next 3 races since in decent times. I think he's a dog that's got it all, and I think you'll see him feature massively in a lot of the big 4 bend showpieces this year.
Yeah, he was in my 5 to follow in the Racing Post that went out on January the 1st. Looks every inch a Derby dog, doesn't he?
Yeah, he certainly does. And again, I think he'll be suited to any track. He's been to Toaster, he's run well. He's been to Perry Bar, run well. Been to Nottingham, run well. Been to Hove, run well. So I think he's got it all, the dog. It'd be a nice dog to have. You'll have a bit of fun with him, I think. Yeah,
he's definitely one to follow. He was in my 5. The other runners were Droopy's Flair, who we've already seen. Romeo Empire, who looks a nice type. Bombay Birch, who won the Puppy Derby, but I think he's going to be a handful at Toaster. And the other one, who I'm going to put up on this show as well, is Vagar, Vhagar. Now, she was withdrawn from Toaster leading up to the Puppy Oaks in December. And from what I saw of her there, I think she would have gone very close to winning that event. Looks a real nice type. Probably going to be a stayer in time. Feb 23, very, very lightly raced, but my word, she's got an engine. So stiff 4 bends, probably going to see her over 6 bends. Look out for her when she's back on the track. She's been in season. She only had a couple of races in the UK. One well, I think at Shelbourne Park it was, over 4 bends. Look out for her. I think that's maybe, who knows, we'll see Droopy's Flair taking on Vagar at the back end of the year, and the staying scene could look very healthy in a few months' time. All good. Right, it's that time. Best bets of the week. We was in great form last year. We wiped the slate clean. We go again. Tony Bullen of the Racing Post. You can go anywhere this week. Where are we off to for the best bet? Yeah,
Central Park have got a few competitions running alongside the Cesarewitch, and I like this Blue Jig Baron dog. I mean, he don't need any introduction. He didn't end the year in good spirits. He took a nasty tumble, but Dave Lee's trialled him recently and he done 15.96 for the sprint distance. I think the track might have been running a little bit quick. They made it normal, but again, that just tells me all is well. He's out in 6, which isn't ideal, but I think Romeo Kingpin could make the market here, but his all-round pace, I think he wins the Heat 1 of the Arc Standard Trophy at Central Park. 7:27, Dave, on Saturday evening.
7:27. Right, we're going to go for a Central Park Saturday night double then, because my best bet is going to be in the 9:28, which is race 11 on the card. Tony mentioned really good supporting card. Obviously, we've got the 3 semi-finals of the Arc Cesarewitch. The top stayers are on show, but there's a good bitches event on as well. And the 9:28, I really like Southfield Daisy in trap 6 for Kevin Hutton. Was beaten at Oxford last time out, but went to the bend with Jetstream Angel, who would be odds on and an absolute certainty for this race. Look out for Good Rainbow here, one of the locals in trap 4. Might make the market for us, though. Barry O'Sullivan's charge. Been running well, but Southfield Daisy, despite no look at the track, I think nice launch pad out wide in trap 6. Give us a start, and I think she can make all the run in there. So Southfield Daisy for me. Blue Jig Baron for Tony. It's all happening. Saturday night at Central Park, Friday night at Romford. Brilliant weekend ahead with the Essex Vase kicking off at the London Road Circuit as well. Of course, all live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service. Behind the Red Button on Sky Sports Racing and on the stream. Tony, it's been a pleasure. We are back. We're off and running. The big competitions keep on coming. And we will see you again same time next week.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on your Dave Clark 5 now. There's only one or two things that are going to happen this year, Dave. You'll either be feeling glad all over or you'll be in bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah, very good. One for the slightly older generation there. I've been suffering that my whole life, but there you go. Two absolute classics from the Dave Clark 5 there. Right, of course, do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know who you fancy for the big competitions, who your best bet is this week. Do remember to enjoy the ground racing, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time.